All right.
Yeah.
Great. So we're on.
This is happening. Welcome.
Well, hey, you know what? I've got a surprise.
What do you got?
I've got a new thing that I do, and it's called it's podcasts during podcasts.
Okay, so you're actually gonna start podcasting during my podcast?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I would. Okay. I mean, this seems. All right. Well, now we got to wait for you to set up gear.
Well, no, I mean the podcast. This one's happening, right?
Yeah. Mine's. I mean, is it happening?
Yeah,
it feels like there's been an abrupt slowdown.
Nope.
Okay.
Not for the listener, and not for certainly for the people at home who are watching. But yeah, I like to do impromptu surprise podcasts within a podcast. I can't tell the podcast host about it.
Yeah, I could see why that would become a problem.
The whole thing.
Yeah,
but
it'd be less impromptu.
If you could put one of these.
Oh, do you want me to wear your microphone during my podcast? Yeah. Do you need to turn it on?
No, it's yeah, actually.
Maybe.
Let me just put it.
I don't want to run I don't want to tell you how to make your podcast during my podcast.
No, because it's two separate things.
Well, it is, but it's not. It is. It's two separate things that are happening at the same time.
Yeah.
So they're kind of the same thing, but two things.
Right. So let me just make sure that
check all your gear while my podcast listeners wait. That's fine.
Again,
sorry. Hey everybody, we'll be right back.
No, this is
after a message from Patrick's podcast.
Well, and
actually, while you get set up, this is what I'll do. I will introduce you.
So what I want you to do is press the button until a green light goes.
It's flat. Oh, yeah. Okay.
Green light.
Yeah.
All right. And then just
clip
put
that.
it somewhere special.
Oh.
And
okay. All right. Yeah, don't forget to set up your video. Is this working? I think it's working. I don't like how this sits. It feels weird. There we go. Yeah. Wherever you got it. Do you need a tripod?
No.
Feel free to use that stand. I'm going to introduce you while you're setting up your camera. Patrick McInnis and I have been friends for going on 14 years. Oh my God. I was running the construction company in Tampa, Florida. I did not enjoy, fresh coffee. I did not enjoy my job. I loved my life. I will say that. I had a good little life. I was living in Tampa, up by Clearwater, in a little town called Safety Harbor. I had a cute little house. I was married at the time. I had 2 stepdaughters. I had a share of a small airplane. I had a small catamaran, an 18-foot catamaran. I was living what people would consider the American dream. I ran the construction company with my uncle, and I had a good little life that was hard to complain about, yet I was not happy. Yeah. I was not fulfilled. And I saw an ad in the back of the Tampa Reader or something. And it was there's an improv group that performs every Thursday night called The Third Thought. And they perform at Coconuts Comedy Club on Gulf to Bay.
Every week.
On Gulf to Bay on 60, every week, Thursday nights. And I saw that, and there was an email, and I emailed, and I was like, that'd be fun. I've always, I did stand up once in college. I always have been in a performance. So I emailed what turned out to be Patrick, and I said, hey, I live in Safety Harbor, and I'm right by Coconuts, and I'd love to perform with you guys. And you wrote, have you ever done improv before? And I was like, no. And you're like, well, that's not really how it works. You can't just join our troupe because if you've never done it, da-da-da. But a group of us in the troupe are taking a class at American Stage down in St. Pete.
Yeah.
It's Improv 101. I highly recommend you sign up and take it. And that is where we met for the first time at the first class. And 3 weeks later, you asked me to start performing on Thursday nights.
Yeah, I was that sure.
Yeah.
I was that sure.
And I will say that I mentally and verbally give you a lot of credit for the push I needed to give this an actual go. And because I think it was a 10-week course, within 3 weeks, I was performing with you guys every Thursday for 2 half-hour sets. And we were doing a 3-hour class on Mondays. We were doing the Thursday night. So you and I pretty much went from like not knowing each other to hanging out.
Best friends.
Yeah, very quickly. And performing constantly, laughing a ton, writing, creating. And then when everything kind of came about where I got out of construction and my wife and I at the time decided to split, which you knew her and got it's not your fault.
No.
You didn't do that.
I had nothing to do with it.
Nothing to do with that. All of a sudden I was like, well, wait, I no longer have, this sounds weird, but I no longer have like a bunch of responsibility. What do I want to do? And you were the one that was like, you should go to Chicago this summer because they do an improv intensive. And I think you'd love it and you'd learn a lot. And you were going to try to go. I remember that. At first, you were trying to figure out how you could make it work with your schedule. And in the end, you couldn't. And but you planted that seed. And I think a big part of me taking the step to like, you know what? I'm going for this. I'm going to go be a comedian. I'm going to go, live in my truck for the next 6 months and drive around the country and make my way to San Diego where my brother said I can live on his futon. And I'm going to go to Chicago and do this thing because Patrick has never you've never steered me wrong.
No.
And that was probably the most transformative summer of my life. So thank you.
Yeah,
So
you're
that's
welcome.
Patrick. Yeah. Do you need to intro your podcast?
I was going to say, hey, everybody, welcome to the San Diego Improv podcast. Today we've got James Schrader with us. He's a local comedian and celebrity and a longtime friend. Now, if you're just tuning in, he just shared kind of our some half of our backstory.
Half?
Well, not my version, not my half.
Oh, I'd love to hear your version. What's your version? I mean, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt
No, that's okay.
Introduction.
And
also, by the way, thank you for having me on your podcast.
Oh, it's great to have you.
I appreciate it. This is a great setup you have. This is really nice.
Yeah, no, it's fantastic. Now, what is this going to be shared on?
All wherever podcasts are found.
Okay.
Video and audio.
Do you have a website?
JamesSchrader.com.
Okay. Because this section of my podcast is sponsored by Squarespace. Do you have a website? Are you starting a business? Do you have your own podcast?
I use Squarespace.
Do you use podcasts to make other podcasts? Because if you do, all you got to do is go to Squarespace, use the promo code SDImprov, and you'll save 10% off your purchase, or your first month is free.
Wait a second. You already have a Squarespace sponsorship?
I've got several sponsors.
Do they know they're sponsoring you?
Well, I'm working that part out. But what I'm certain is no one's using SD Improv yet.
I doubt it.
So
if that traffic starts flying in, they're going to be like, we should figure this out.
Squarespace.com, use promo code SDImprov and save maybe 10% or maybe your first month free.
As soon as you get that worked out.
Right.
Wow.
By the time this is out there, this will all be squared away.
Yeah. Spaced away. Hey.
That's yours. That's yours now.
Okay.
So we've known each other for going on.
I think it's 14, 12, 13.
I mean, it'll be
I've been here
It'll
for
be 13 years. I mean,
I've been here for 12.
Yeah. So it's about 13 years going on 14 years. So it'll be 13 going on 14. So, where I was when we met,
keep going.
I had, are you starting another podcast?
That would be.
I had been, I'd gotten into comedy several years earlier doing comedy hypnosis.
That's right.
Yeah, I had a one-man show that I took around parts of the country and mostly the Tampa Bay area, but I would do high school, like post-prom and post-grad shows.
You would hypnotize the kids to keep them from having premarital sex and getting pregnant, ruining their lives right after high school.
Drunk driving, too. Yeah. That was a big part of it. No drunk driving, no premarital sex on my watch. And so I was doing that, and I had done that to kind of find my way back into performing, because I had been a child actor and as a young adult, I was an actor and did commercials and different stuff. And I decided I wanted to get back into it and realized that improv was going to be my road in. And so I started studying improv like mad. Immediately, I kind of got good at it because I already had this background in performance and I'd already been kind of naturally funny. And then I learned the mechanics of comedy And then again, and there was no real scene there. Like the guys that were teaching us were performing, but nobody else was really performing.
Because the only one Gavin Hawk,
right,
who taught our class.
Yeah, Gavin and Ricky had a show, a 2-man show, and there was some bits and pieces of other stuff, but nothing too substantial. And there was no real scene to call, a scene like there is now. Mm-hmm. And so I started teaching. I started having shows weekly. Started teaching a drop-in within a few months. Around the time that we started that class is when I started my drop-in.
Really?
Yeah.
Wait, when was?
It was like fall of 2011.
When was the drop-in?
When
was that? Was that on Thursdays?
Before the show. Yeah.
Oh, okay, so I was doing that. I just didn't know it.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. We performed in front of so few people.
So that it was kind of always a class.
Felt like it was all a class. But so I started doing that, and we had we had our own podcast.
The radio, yeah.
We had a radio show that was like a fake news show where we would just cover real topics.
And that was the first place I ever saw you hypnotize somebody. I remember you told me you were a hypnotist.
Oh, yeah.
And I was like, well, that's all bullshit.
As people
and then
think, yeah.
And then we were at the podcast studio, the radio station, and we had just hit. What was the chili dog place?
Uptown Chili?
No.
What was it called? What was it called?
The Cincinnati, I forget. Will come to us.
Skyline Chili.
Skyline Chili. Yeah, so good.
So good.
And then we were there and we did the thing. And then afterwards, there was somebody in the studio next to us. And there were some women in there. And we were just chatting with everybody. And something came up about hypnosis. And she's like, oh my God, you have to hypnotize. And then I saw you literally like do your thing.
Yeah.
And she just out. And I was like, this shit's real.
Yeah, it takes that to know it.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't believe it, honestly, even though my dad had been hypnotized, when I was 14 and he was 48, the age I am now, he went to a hypnotist to quit smoking after a 30-year, 2.5 pack a day habit.
Yeah.
And he came home, again, a non-smoker, and that was pretty powerful.
Well, to pass that story on, you did that for my mom.
Oh yeah,
you sat down with my mom one time and did one hypnosis session, and she has never touched. And she brought it up recently. She was like, "James, it's so weird. I've never, if I smell a cigarette, if I see so, nothing about me is even interested." So thank you for that.
You're welcome.
But that's crazy.
Yeah,
sorry. So go
on. If you're interested in hypnosis for weight loss, smoking cessation, or just a one-man comedy show from a very experienced and talented comedian, visit improvsandiego.com and you can hire me.
Yeah,
for any of that.
And stuff. I will give full good reviews. Like I said, one session with my mom, who had been smoking for I think like 5-6 years at that point. She used to smoke back in her younger years, and then she smoked when my dad got sick again, and then all through law school. And one session, done.
It just takes one. With a good, with weight loss, it can take a few sessions to be really successful, or stuff. But cigarette smoking, pretty much everybody knows why they want to quit. Everybody knows why they started. And why did they start? Sick of it.
Why
to be cool?
Is that it?
Yep, everybody.
You think that's why my mom started?
Yeah, when she was young.
When she was young, I remember she told me it was because she worked at a place and everyone 2 to 3 times a day took a smoke break, and she was like, "I'm still working. They're all outside gabbing and talking, and this is totally acceptable that half the office leaves, and just has a social session, and I'm sitting in here still working." So that's what got her. So I guess you're right.
Yeah, no,
being cool.
Yeah, to be cool, to fit in, and then ultimately, the reason your mom went back wasn't for those same reasons. Yeah. It was because of the perceived relaxation, the perceived change of focus, or looking at the different perspective you can get. I'm going to go have a cigarette and think about this, or whatever. We give ourselves a million reasons, but we start to be cool, and then we hate it. There's not a lot of people that are honest with themselves or anybody else who, after 20 years, 10 years, says, "Oh man, I love sucking these things down."
Yeah. I love waking up first thing, coughing my lungs out, and lighting up.
Oh, getting back on that wagon. Yeah, nobody. So, yeah, it's great. So, I got into that, got into improv, started teaching and doing stuff. And then, I remember that email like it was yesterday. I remember our conversation like it was yesterday, walking around outside of my house. I was outside talking to you.
Yeah.
And you know, in my life, I was married at the time and not in the best relationship. And, you know, comedy was kind of an outlet for a lot of things. And, you know, again, you and I were in similar places in some ways.
Yeah, that's true.
And and that to go back, you know, that trip to Chicago, I was going to go on, but my dad unfortunately had a year you know, being in a hospital his last year of life, and it nixed the opportunity to do that. And, you know, but those inroads you made affected me because there's people I became friends with and then studied alongside and know today, like Pam Victor and, you know, even though I don't talk to Pam anymore, but you know, like a lot of great folks, you know, so I was kind of there with you in a sense, you know?
Yeah. And I remember because we had done DCM, Del Close Marathon.
Yeah.
And that was the first year that I went? Was that when I met you there? Or did we go
You went in 2012.
Which is, so that's when I was on the road.
Yeah.
That's when I was on the road.
My first one was in 2011, and that was before we met, because it was in August of 2011 was my first Del Close.
But I remember we went to that, and then you introduced me like Peter Kim, and we took classes, and we watched shows, and I mean, it makes me sad because it's not happening anymore.
Oh, for sure, yeah.
Right? It's over?
No, well, yeah, they had 20 of them. Maybe they had a 21st, I'm not sure, but they had 19 or 20 of them in New York.
Yeah.
I attended the last 8 in New York, and then they had one in Los Angeles, which was just like either UCB only teams or fancy outside team, you know, like well known.
Yeah.
But it was just a very tight kind of UCB thing. And you know, and then between COVID and the UCB shutting down in a lot of ways, and that not being a great festival, you know, because a lot of people were kind of upset. You know, people came from around the world, I looked forward to that thing all year long.
Yeah, it was such a good time.
Yeah.
Just the shows, sitting in a theater for, I don't know, I mean, I think that first time we stood in line, we were in line, how long were we in that line? We were like fourth from the front.
Oh, 6 hours?
At least.
Just to get into the press conference.
And then we never left our seats, and we were in there till, that started at what, 7 p.m., and we didn't leave till 4 o'clock in the morning?
It started at 4:30.
Okay, well,
that's when the press conference started, and then they cleared everybody out, I think at 11, because there was all these shows. They had initial press conference with Matt Walsh, Matt Besser, Ian Roberts, and Amy Poehler, and then a bunch of shows after the opening shows, packed into a underground, you know, a basement theater, under Gristedes Market in Chelsea, New York, and and the best time you could ever have.
Oh, so fun. How was that? That was 12 years ago. 11 years ago.
11 years ago, yeah.
Feels like yesterday.
It does.
Just running around, watching improv, staying up all night.
So much fun.
So much fun. So you were going to finish your thing of your version of us?
Oh,
what?
yeah. Well, it was just,
talk about me. Go ahead.
So it was great. You know, you didn't have a comedy career. You had told me about a couple, you know, you'd been written a few jokes.
Yeah.
I think you'd gone on stage like less than 5 times, maybe 3 times most. And, you know, and then the other beautiful thing, I don't think you took advantage of it that much, but after our improv show, there was an open mic at that comedy club. I don't think you did it really ever. I think you went to other ones, but
no. Well, the only open mics I'd ever done in Tampa were there, but they weren't. I think I'd done it like once or twice before we ever linked up.
Fair enough.
Because I'd been in Tampa at that point for 9 years.
Yeah. So, no, you give me mental and verbal credit, and I give myself a lot of credit for getting you started in comedy. Yeah. I mean, a lot, and a lot of verbal. I tell everybody. You're like, I'm the guy. I found no, just a few people, but definitely I've done it. And obviously, I mean, look how great, you know, it's become your life. That's pretty brilliant, and you know, and again, and for both of us, like comedy is a huge part of both of our lives. So that's pretty fabulous.
I love it. It makes me happy. It is very strange to go to, like, I've now been here doing comedy and trying to build a career for about the same amount of time as I was in Tampa. And to know, I will say this, it's a little scarier now, like just life, because comedy is such a strange business to be in, whether it's the commercials or the comedy, like the stand-up or whatever. And this never feels like, well, it's definitely going to be here next year. Where with the construction company, it's like, wow, we got the shop and we got employees and we got tools and we got, there's construction going on. There's all these contractors. Like we're going to be here next year. We might not be doing great business, but we'll be in business and like the rent will be covered. And now I will say it's like it's oddly a little more stressful, but that is so overshadowed by the fulfillment of it.
How long have you felt like that? In the sense that like it's not going to maybe be here next year?
As soon as I actually had some version of success in comedy.
Okay.
Like once it started actually like with the commercial, once the commercial work started, which is really what pays the bills. As soon as that started, I was like, well, at what point are people going to be like, we've seen you enough. You're done. And will the comedy have picked up enough to replace that and be the thing, which is the goal, hopefully, like just to get to the point where the comedy is really my main focus. It's what I do. I'm on the road selling tickets, performing and entertaining and having a blast with fans. And then I just do the commercials I really, really want to do on the side, which is nice now that I'm like, I have gotten to the point where like now I only do the stuff I want to do. And that's nice. But I want to do more comedy. That's what's in the heart.
You want to tour more?
Yeah. I want to tour. I want to be in front of, I want to perform and just give people an awesome night.
Yeah, it's what you do.
Yeah, it's the goal.
Yeah.
It's the plan. And it is what I do.
Yeah, it is what you do.
So, you can catch me this weekend at the American Comedy Code. Not that this will be out by then, but I will be opening for Natasha Leggero, which is a blast. And I love that I get, like, San Diego's such a great scene. You have still barely dipped your toes into the scene here.
No, I haven't.
But there really is so much stage time, so many good rooms, a lot of opportunity for talented comics. So,
speaking of that, this weekend, you can see me at Cornerstone Improv because my podcast is going up later today. But after I get that Squarespace deal worked out, but this weekend at Cornerstone Improv in San Diego, I am teaching my famous Keep It Real Yo workshop about doing grounded scene work in improv. And it's 3 hours from 2 to 5.
2 to 5.
Yeah.
Wait, that's where you're going after this?
It's Saturday.
Oh, sorry. Saturday, this weekend. Got it.
Yeah. Saturday, the 21st of some month.
This month.
Sure, if we can say it. I wasn't sure when this is going to be released.
Oh, this won't. I mean, but we're talking to your podcast people, not my
that's
podcast.
Right. It's going to be this Saturday, October 21st, from 2 to 5. The price is a low $40 and $40, and you can go and find it on Cornerstone Improv. Just do a Google search for them, and hope to see you there.
Where is Cornerstone?
I don't know. I barely know where anything is around.
How long
here.
have you been here now? You've lived here for
a little over a year.
Okay.
Yeah, and I know some things. I just don't know. I know North County pretty well. I know Del Mar, Carmel Valley, Solana Beach, Carlsbad.
What's funny is you can probably, and this is because of the industry you're in, because you besides improv, you are a realtor.
Yeah, I'm a realtor.
You're keeping it realtor.
Right.
But it's funny, like I've been here 11, 12 years, whatever, where people will be like, oh, where should we da-da-da-da-da? And I'm like, I have no idea. And they're like, what are you talking about? I'm like, well, what about, what town, what part of town's that in? I'm like, I don't know what that's called. And they're like, you've lived here 10 years. How do you not know? And I'm like, I don't do things. I don't go out. I don't know where the restaurants are. I don't know where the bars are. I don't know what part of town that is unless that's where, that part of town? Yeah, that's where the Comedy Palace used to be and now it's the Mic Drop. Or that part of town? Yeah, that's where the La Jolla Comedy Store is. Or that part of town is the such and such show. And it's like that. Everything has to do with a comedy club because that's all I did every night for the first 5 years I lived here was just like, I was on stage so much. It was like, I don't know. I don't go places. I don't do things.
Yeah. It's tough.
So
it's such a big city, too. It's a sprawling city.
It's a sprawling city with a lot of little nooks.
Yeah.
And they all have their charm. They all have their own little charm to them.
Yep. And their own, and crusty sides, too.
What's the crusty? I mean,
Well, it depends. You tell me which part of town, and I'll tell you the charm and crusty.
Del Mar. What's the charm? What's the crust?
Well, the charm is that it's just so darn close to the ocean, and then the crust.
Yeah, what's the crust?
The crust is all the kids on e-bikes.
Oh, okay. I have a feeling that pretty much anything I say that's somewhere coastal, the crust is the kids on the e-bikes.
Yeah. Well, again,
there's so many.
Oh, it's crazy.
It's scary. It's terrifying. Daisy and I went to the park yesterday. She had her bicycle, and there's like a big like basketball court like next to the playground, and she was riding her bike, and then some kid rolled up on his e-bike and just like flew through the thing, and then 2 other kids showed up on their e-bikes, and these kids are like 12.
Yeah.
I'm like, they're gonna die.
Yeah,
they're reckless.
No helmets.
No.
Multiple children wearing motorized vehicles.
Yeah. And my favorite is when you see the kid riding it. He has a helmet, but the 2 kids that are sitting on the back behind him, they're like barely holding on. Their legs are out.
Yeah,
no helmets.
How there aren't more accidents is the part that really surprises me, because I barely hear about accidents. Just hear about complaints, but I don't hear a lot about accidents. So I don't know. Maybe it's something. Maybe they're onto something. These kids.
Maybe. Were you done telling the amazing story? I
think so.
Us?
Yeah. I mean that ever expanding. Yeah. I mean. I kept going in Tampa Bay.
Yeah, and you built
an empire of improv people, and I taught hundreds of students in that time, dozens, if not more. That's even possible. Improv troops spawned out of the classes that I taught, and now there's a flourishing scene, and there's actually going to be an improv theater opening. It's maybe this weekend during my workshop, if you go to look for the Commodore in Ybor City. Our old dear friend Matt Walker is a co-owner.
Matt?
Yeah, he's a co-owner.
Go Matt. Shout out to Matt Walker, Commodore Improv in Tampa, Florida.
Yeah.
Now what's interesting though is you kind of did get out of the hypnosis.
I did. I traded hypnosis for more improv. The only thing that I do now, like I'm available to be booked. My show is still phenomenal, but and now it's almost like therapy upon request. If I meet somebody, just like the conversation with your mom. If I see somebody that can use my help, I'll sit down with them and do whatever. So, but I just don't know how the business works anymore. Like I used to be pretty focused. I used to have hypnosisfundraising.com. I used to have comedyhypnosisexperience.com. I don't even know if I have any of those websites anymore. But I mean, if I did, I would put them on Squarespace. But
I mean, that just seems like the natural thing to do.
Yeah.
And to touch back on, so you were a child performer.
I was.
You did a lot of acting. From what ages? What year? How old were you when you got started in performance of any kind?
I was 12. I did a community theater production of MAME. MAME, which is it's a musical.
Not like Fame. It's totally different than.
Well, it's funny. The song is similar. It's MAME. She's gonna live forever.
No, it's not.
No. But it's it was made into a movie with Lucille Ball. I can't think of Rosalind Russell. I think was in the original. For those of you who are over
big Rosalind
60.
Russell fans.
And yeah, so I auditioned. It was at Royalty Theater in Clearwater, downtown Clearwater, right next to the Scientology hub of the world. It's where I
back then it wasn't though.
It absolutely was.
Oh, was it? It was already there?
Oh, for sure. There were people walking around in white lab coats all over the place. You thought it was like, Science Central.
That's weird. They used to wear lab coats.
Yeah.
I haven't seen that in years. Like when I lived there, it was all the blue. Blue pants.
No.
Blue slacks,
coats.
blue
You
shirts.
thought they were right in the middle of an experiment all the time.
All the time.
Yeah.
They're at lunch? Nope.
No.
This is an experiment.
We've got stuff to do. So, but yeah, and then I did that. Then I auditioned for the exact same show in Sarasota at a place called the Golden Apple Dinner Theater. Met a woman named Liz Vassy. If you're out there, Liz, good to see you. But she's a famous actress. Like she was 15 at the time. I was 12. She brought me to her acting school in Tampa which was in the same shopping center that I taught improv for like a year and a half. Remember the picture show, the Tampa picture show?
That's where the acting school was?
Yeah, it was same shopping center. It's called Class Act. And she brought me there through a contract dispute I had. I quit the show because they weren't going to pay me. It was a paid production. It was a dinner theater.
Yeah.
Everybody was getting paid hundreds and hundreds of dollars, including Liz. She was getting paid like $500 or $600 a week for that show. And they said, oh, we don't pay kids. But I was the second biggest role in the show. And my mom stood up for me and said, no. Because again, we were driving down the Sarasota to do that.
You're putting in the work. This isn't...
Yeah.
We don't pay kids.
Yep.
I'm pretty sure that's illegal.
Well, and they were paying Liz out of fairness. She was an amazing, talented actress and singer and dancer. And you may know her from her work on All My Children, her work on CSI, the original CSI, Las Vegas, I guess, or whatever. Her work on, The Tick. She played like the Wonder Woman character on The Tick live action show. And many, many more. She's still working. So, but yeah. Then I ended up doing like a lot of fun stuff there. I did production of Grease there. I got cast on the Mickey Mouse Club when I was there. I was on the original. I was in the part of the original cast of the Mickey Mouse Club in 1988, and I went through 6 auditions with thousands of kids, 6 callbacks. Sorry.
6 callbacks.
Yeah.
So you were right there.
Whittled down from thousands to hundreds to dozens to dozens to 12 of us. And we all were told, you made it. You guys are going to be it.
And then they pulled you aside like, we forgot to tell you something.
No. Like me.
They were like, Patrick, this is Britney Spears. This is Justin Timberlake. This is Christina Aguilera. This is pre them?
Yeah, this is a couple years before them. This is 1988. This is the original cast when they brought back the show from the 60s. And so me and this other kid, his name at the time was Tony Dinetti.
At the time?
Well, his real name is Howard Duro. You may know him as Howie D of the Backstreet Boys.
What?
All right. But he and I, we had the same manager. We went to New York together to audition for commercials and just try to get some work before filming started in August. And then about a month into our stay there, they let my manager and then my mom know that both Howie and I got cut. So they brought in 2 kids from California to replace us. How dare they? And yeah, and then I kind of, it was such a, like my mom, a wonderful, wonderful woman, she brought me to St. Patrick's Cathedral in New York City.
To tell you that's where she let you down?
Yeah. Mm-hmm, yeah.
With the Lord.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
The Lord all around us.
Yeah.
And I was so kind of bitter about that thing. I decided I never wanted to work professionally again. I wanted to do like stage work again. I wanted to, perform in high school and who knows what. But I was very, very upset with the industry at that time. And then later, I ended up getting a scholarship for acting to the local community college, St. Pete Junior College. Did some work there, dropped out of that to do a movie in Orlando. And the headshots, the guy that I did headshots with had just done the original photos for the then brand new Backstreet Boys in 1993. Nobody knew who they were.
But you knew Howie.
I knew Howie D. I mean, Tony Dinetti. But
TD, as we called him.
TD back in the day. And very talented guy. And
very nice guy. I got to meet him a couple of times when I was in Orlando.
Oh,
and,
cool.
I sat and had dinner with him in a group. It was actually for Lou. I became a +1 for Lou Pearlman's birthday before Lou went to prison.
Yeah, sure.
Because I had a friend that worked at TransCon that, and like all of a sudden we were, he was like, hey, I got to go to this thing. Like, you want to be my +1? So we went and we were sitting with Howie D. And very nice the whole evening. Very nice.
Yeah, Howie D is a great guy. I mean, I guess. I don't know. I haven't
met him in a long time. But
in over 30 years. But I'm sure he's fine. So, and then again, the rest is kind of history. I did commercials and a movie and then kind of did tons and tons of voiceover. Did a lot of, like, I was doing everything for Disney and Universal Studios, like so much, anything that was in my range at all, I would get. I was, and so, but again, that wasn't what I wanted to do. I wanted to be on camera. So as great as it was to work on Sequest SVU or whatever it was. Some
I don't think it was SVU.
No, it wasn't SVU.
I don't think it's Sequest Special Victims.
Oh, no. CSV, I don't know. It was some show with Roy Scheider.
Yeah, I remember. Yeah. Wait, it was like the spawn off of Sequest. Or was it Sequest?
It was Sequest.
Oh, I think it was just called Sequest.
Yeah,
that was a great show.
Yeah.
The kid, he talked to the dolphin. He had his pet dolphin. His dad was the captain.
Right.
And
I wasn't on that show. I also Hulk Hogan's Paradise and Thunder.
Yeah, Thunder
in Paradise.
Thunder in Paradise.
Yeah.
But they shot on Disney property, right? In the boat. Yeah.
I was in both of those shows in a capacity called looping, which is a post after you film something, and say you film it in a crowded scene.
Right.
You can't have the extras on set actually talking because it would be picked up by the fairly sensitive microphone. So everyone is just saying strawberries, bananas, and apples. Like that's what they recommend extras say, and it looks like you're really talking. And then they hire 6 people or so to come in and fulfill all the voices in a room, just like James is doing. And yeah, it looks just like that. And so that's what I did, and it paid exceptionally well. And I wish I could get that job back. If anybody's listening, I want that job. It's so good. It's such a good job.
VO is like, it's funny that's definitely, I think people are realizing, especially with like the rise of all these animated movies, where and then like Stephen Shea and I put that. He's finishing it now, I should say, but Alan Monstro, when we wrote that, and he went off, last year or for the past year and I was shocked at how many, when you have a VO project, the amount, the how do I say this? The caliber of talent, or the high, whatever you want to call it, the more famous people, it's very easy to get a hold of them through their agents and stuff and be like, hey, are they interested? And like, I was shocked, and he put together this amazing cast, and the people that said yes have blown my mind, and the people that have said no, but they read it and they were like, this is really funny. It's just, I don't have time, or da-da-da-da. It blew my mind. It's amazing. So yeah, I think that's a whole thing where now, like, with a great microphone in your house, you can do some pretty cool work.
Yeah, and that's the neat part about being in the industry at that time was I saw the revolution. I literally went from seeing guys cut tape, cut it with a razor blade to put it together, to the very first digital cuts that were being made, and then also I remember doing a commercial where the producer was in Atlanta, I was in Tampa, and then the client was in Detroit. And it was all being done over a T1 line.
T1 line, yeah. Probably over voice over IP. Where they were all piped in.
Yeah, probably.
So a T1 line, so a T1 line, that's like your internet connection. That was the line coming in. And back then a T1 was something like, I want to say it was like 10. I almost want to Google it because I don't want to get it wrong. But it was I'm
very familiar with them.
What's the bandwidth of a T1?
Well, it was equivalent to like 24 phone lines.
Yeah.
Like that's what it was.
But a phone line only does 48.8.
Yeah, but it would
kilobytes per second.
Yeah,
kilobits per second.
Yeah, but it would do 24 times that.
Yeah.
Like so again, pretty fast. Like it was.
Yeah.
But still nothing compared to what's available today.
I have to know. No, I just want to know.
Anyway, we're going to take a break for right now. This is actually time for my second sponsor. Have you figured out what you're going to get your loved one for Christmas? If not, I know what they need. Even if they're in the armed forces and they say they go commando, I want you to visit myundies.com. Myundies.com provides great, comfortable, fitting underwear for your loved ones, for your guy, or for your gal that wears men's underwear.
They make women's underwear.
Oh, do they?
They do.
Well, I just want you to...
They make matching men's and women's underwear. And good. This isn't a plug, and I'm not being paid for this. I'm wearing them right now.
Hey. Well, in that case, I want you to go to myundies.com, use the promo code SDImprov, and get 10% off your first order, or your first month free. I'm not sure which one, but either way, by the time you see it, put in SDImprov, and you'll find some gift.
All right, for clarification. So now your average home, the internet that you get, is usually somewhere between 50 and 100 megabits per second.
Yeah.
Megabits per second download.
Yep.
A T1 line could transmit data at the blazing speed of 1.5 megabits per second.
Yeah. Right.
So that's what it was. Like my office here gets 300 down.
Right.
Back then, this was like insane. 1.5 megabits per second.
It was, yeah.
I mean,
I was, anytime I could get 3.5 kilobits down, I was pretty happy.
Yeah, 3.5. Yeah.
You know, and I was playing Doom and Quake over the phone lines to do
Us
that.
too. Yeah, we would call a bulletin board from the Keys up to Miami and log in and play guys.
Yeah.
That was good times.
Really good times.
Yeah. So you're doing voiceover, you're working for Disney, you're doing all these things, and then what?
And then I got disillusioned with the business again, a second chance at disillusionment. And again, I wasn't getting the roles I really wanted to get.
And you were trying out for everything? You were auditioning constantly?
Sure. Oh my gosh, yeah, absolutely, yeah. I would do weird things with my eyebrows in audition. Like I look back and go, God,
do you ever wonder if that was why?
Maybe for sure.
That's why you didn't.
I mean, and I think I had.
We really like this guy. He's got the look and he's got the skill, but his eyebrows are just
so crazy. I'd go back. I'd watch like some like tapes, and they would just do these different things. Like, you know, I'd look surprised half the time, and I don't know what the other was. But and you know, again, I was okay. I think.
You know how they say actors, like you said, like there was always the joke with Will Ferrell's like, I don't know what to do with my hands. Like, that was that. Eyebrows are one of those things.
Yeah.
You forget, like, once the camera's rolling, there's this weird thing. And I know on sets, I've literally had, you know, because we'll do like a couple different takes of a line or something. And it's all, you know, it's my face and it's me holding the product and da-da-da-da. And they'll be like, less eyebrow.
Yeah.
Like, you're not, like, tone it down. But you're trying to go bigger, and for your face, your eyebrows are the thing, you know?
Yeah. And I think, I mean, through improv and like doing grounded scene work, keeping it real, is really like, I think it brought me back because I was truly acting. Like I was acting. And now when I do scenes or even when I do stuff, I make sure that I'm not acting. Like I'm comfortable with what I'm saying. And I'm just connecting with whoever I'm doing the audition with, and then that prevents me from making my eyebrows go crazy or making like faces that aren't legitimate. So you know, but yeah, then I got back. Then I decided to go back to school, and about 21 years old, and got a degree in economics at the University of Florida at that point.
Awesome.
Yeah, how about that?
So roll it back a bit. You're 12 years old and you start doing this acting stuff. Where are you? Because I know you and I have also, our journey has, and our friendship has always dealt, or I should say has included love and support from a mental health standpoint, with anxiety, depression, feelings, just all the shit. And I always felt like I could talk to you about anything. You've been there for me, and you've had a lot of insight because you're so much older than I am. You have so much more wisdom to share. So many years. But like, where were you as a kid? Were you struggling with any of that? Like, I know that my performance in the beginning, my reason for being class clownish, the kid that did, like, I enjoyed performing from the standpoint of the performance itself, but I also know that like I felt like I was performing all the time because of I had insecurities and low self-esteem and stuff like that. Like, where were you in all that?
I was in the same place. I mean, we were both the babies of the family, which, you know, again, there's data out there to suggest there's a greater likelihood that there'll be performers in comedy, you know, for the same reason. They're peacemakers.
If a comedian has siblings, it's like 90% that they are the youngest.
Yeah. And you know, I grew up, you know, I had two older siblings that had terminal diseases. I grew up, you know, I lost my sister when she was 13 and I was almost 3. So that's a memory I didn't have, but I definitely experienced something.
And the vibe around you, whether you understood what was happening, the people around you were suffering, and you felt all of it.
Yeah, and I had, again, my older brother, who was 7 years older than me, he was, you know, again, he had cystic fibrosis, as did my sister, and they knew they were dying. Like, there was no handle on that disease then. It was the #1 killer of kids in the country. And at each of their ages when they died, my sister at 13 and my brother at 28, that was the life expectancy at the time when they died. Now it's like close to 50.
Wow.
Because they've made huge strides and all kinds of stuff. But, you know, that's a big cloud to have hanging over all the time. Like, you know, and it changes how everything works. in a family dynamic. You know?
Yeah, I would think that. Like, did your parents become extremely protective of you? Because I know that happens. Like a lot of times, like if an older sibling, it went the other way.
Yeah,
it went very much the other way.
The other way.
They were like, you know what? Maybe the less we do, the better chance he's got.
Yeah, I mean, again, these are people that had 3 kids. 2 of them had terminal diseases, and the last one didn't. He can do what he needs. He can take care of himself. Like that was kind of, and again, and I was also, you know, I'm a Gen Xer. I was, you know, raised in the 80s. And so like, we're the most like feral, a generation that there is, you know, like, yeah, I was walking home. I was opening, you know, I was taking care of myself. So, you know, between that and I was also little at the time. Like I was a little kid, and because I was a year younger than everybody in my grade. So because I got advanced, you know, ahead. I have a December birthday, which afforded me the opportunity to go to school sooner, and you know, I passed tests that said I could do it, but it also meant I was always scrawnier than everybody or smaller than everybody, and so between that and, you know, again, some degree of kind of anxiety, probably of dying, or, you know, or being around people that were going to leave, you know, not realize, again, these are some of the stuff I haven't dealt with yet, but you know, like a little bit. I mean, you know, I don't know how, like, again, it's almost, you know, there's certain things, trauma or whatever else that you know, especially when you're a real little kid, like, you know, if nobody's there to tell you what happened, you're just screwed up by it, and you're never going to find out, you know. So I'm sure, like, the impact of losing my sister, who was evidently my number one caretaker during her last couple of years, like, you know, I'm sure that was a big deal. Yeah. You know, and led to, again, like, yeah, I was always a little anxious, always insecure, you know, made up for it with jokes, you know, and also I had undiagnosed ADD, inattentive. So I wasn't bouncing around the room. I was thinking about being a superhero, you know, all the time. And then again, and if I get picked on, you know, like my best friend in middle school was also my bully and the most popular kid in school, you know, like.
So he was your best friend until you were around other people, and then he just shit on you. Right.
Yeah.
It's funny how that works.
Yeah. I mean, you know, I have lots of memories. Like I remember like some big kickball game we had, or you know, where he got the entire class saying geek. This he was my best friend. Like, I thought, you know what I mean? Yeah. Like,
do you think you were his best friend? Because I'm guessing he did that out of his own insecurities. Do you think, like, after all of that, you guys would walk home together or whatever, and you'd be the only person he could confide in?
In some ways, yeah, in some ways, for sure. And again, like, yeah, he had his own insecurities. You know, he was, you know, the star athlete, and he was a good-looking guy, and, you know, again, he was 5'10" in 8th grade.
It's a big boy.
Yeah, and I caught up with him after we graduated. I was 6'1". He's still 5'10". But, you know, again, I was 5'2". Yeah. You know, so.
And a geek.
And a total geek. And, you know, so that was, and again, and what was I going to do? Cry about it a lot? You know, like, you know, you can't. Like, you got to keep going, and you got to, and again, you just make jokes about it. Like, yeah, that's me, you know, but obviously you're never comfortable. Right. So, all those things, either, you know, again, with the ADD, I got to give a lot of credit to a fast thinking ability, you know, that helped.
It is a superpower.
Yeah.
But, you know, it's the pros and cons are there, but the pros are pretty great.
Yeah. And my dad, I was fortunate. My dad was a New York City cop for 20 years. So he had a lot of social life experience. You know, he was also like, he worked on Broadway as a cop, as a mounted cop. So he introduced me to people. I mean, I met so many people when I was a kid. Like, you know, a lot of famous people. He was friends with famous people that I got to meet.
Probably like that gal that was in Mame.
Yeah. Yeah, just like Lucille Ball.
No, the other one.
Rosalind Russell.
Sure,
for sure. No, Zero Mostel, Gregory Hines, Lena Horne, to name a few. You know, like those. You know,
huge names in their day.
They were not today though.
Not so
much. Hulk Hogan. No. He never introduced me to Hulk Hogan. But The governor of Minnesota, what's his name?
Jesse Ventura.
Yeah, I met Jesse Ventura when I was a kid. Andre the Giant, Bob Backlund, Jimmy Superfly Snuka. All the same night.
All the same. Well, that would make sense. They would be together.
Yeah, it made sense.
Yeah.
It made sense.
So you're this insecure kid. You're performing. You're ADD. You're getting gigs. Hollywood's letting you down multiple times at a young age.
Yeah.
Was there any part of you that like when you went and got your economics degree, was that just like, I'm done? Like, I'm just going to go be a person.
Yeah, for sure. I gave it up. And I shouldn't have, in retrospect, even though I say that, like, there's so many things that I could look back and go, gosh, if I'd made a different choice, I'd be in a different place. But
yeah. No shit.
love where I'm at right now.
Yeah.
I love the people I'm with. I love my partner. I love you. I love being here. I love my life. And, and thankfully I have no ability to change the past, but I'm fine with how it all worked out.
Yeah. I catch the same moments of like even when I started comedy at age 30 when I moved out here, and I got here and most of the guys that I was starting with were in their like early 20s, if not late teens. And in my mind, I was like, damn, if I would have just, the first time I did stand up, I was 20 years old in college. If I would have just stuck with it then. But I was like, yeah, but I went and did all this stuff. And it's interesting because I'm definitely, as time goes on, like I said, like there is this fear now that I didn't have as much in the construction thing of like, this could all go away or da-da-da, like those fears are there. But at the same time, I've definitely calmed down with this like rush of like, and part of me is like, you should be doing more, you could be putting out more, you could be creating more content, you should be on tour more, you should like I don't think it matters what you do. There's always of course you could do more. If you gave up all the other things that are probably contributing to happiness and took the bandwidth away from your family and your mental health and your happiness and your hobbies and your exercise and whatever, if you take bandwidth away, yeah, you could be doing more. I'm sure you could. But now I'm finally grasping that, like, I get to raise my kid. I've spent the last 4 years, she just started kindergarten. I've spent the last 4 years, 50% of the time when she's not with her mom, when she's with me, it's she and I doing what we're doing. We're going to the park. We're going for a bike ride. We're going to gymnastics. We're going to the beach. We're doing these things together. And I realize now how, like, could my career be further? I guess. Could I have more money if I had taken more opportunities or job? Maybe. But would I have been able to spend the amount of time that I've gotten to spend with my child? Absolutely not. It would have taken away from all of that. And that's my biggest fear now is like, as things go is, to build a career means more time. I want to go on the road. Well, what does that look like? Is that like more weekends away from my kid? Because I'm already away from my kid half the weekends of the year. So am I willing to dip into the ones I have to be away from her? Because that doesn't sound like a good trade-off.
Right.
But that's the inner struggle. But I also look at him like I am the richest guy in the world because I get to drop my kid off at school and pick her up, and then it's just us for the day. And before school, like that's new. I'm still getting used to that. She's only been in school for 8 weeks. But before that, it was like, we wake up, we brush our teeth, we wash our face, we pick out our clothes, we go for a walk, we go to breakfast, we go down to the beach, we're going to hit the playground, we're going to go for a bike ride, we're going to make our own lunch, we're going to watch a show, we're going to read some books, we're going to do some color. It's the best job in the world. Dad. Yeah.
I mean, there's so many, especially I think especially if you're a performer who's starting late. You consider, gosh, what if I'd done this? What if I'd gone to New York and studied improv at 20? What if I'd learned from Besser and Walsh, like right away? When they were getting started, because
you would have been right there in the heat of it if you would have gone back then. Yeah.
Yeah, and
you could have been the 5th member of UCB.
I wanted to be the 6th Backstreet Boy, but
I did too. I wanted to be an NSYNC though, not Backstreet. I was more of an NSYNC guy.
Were you?
Yeah.
But there again, and I don't think it's terrible. I think it's terrible to linger in those thoughts. I think it's okay to let stuff drive you to do a little bit more. Because, why not? If you're not pushing yourself to do more, you'll probably do less. And so And I'm at a place right now, again, with my real estate career, that, I've done that for 20 years now. I've started that in June of 2003 as an assistant for my mom, and then licensed in January of 04.
Licensed, you heard it here.
That's right.
And recently, California licensed.
That's right.
What?
That's right. My third license. I'm active in 3 states: California, Colorado, and Florida.
And a driver's license.
Mm-hmm. I've got that. I just ordered my Social Security card online. A lot easier than I thought it would be. Again, there's so many things you can learn from experience, and if any, and failure is the greatest teacher.
Yeah.
So don't be afraid of it, or that's actually bad for hypnosis. Don't use the word don't. Be accepting.
Don't use the word don't. Accept.
Well, accept what you've got. And the other thing is reframe and look differently at whatever you think was crappy about your past. Recognize it as something different, like that it got you somewhere else, that it taught you something else. If you do that, again, to quote Wayne Dyer, when we change the way we look at things, the things we look at change. And, but that is so true. Like, if you've got a sad story, or if you've got something that is in your past, like, God, I wish I had this different. I wish I had that different. Maybe evaluate it differently, look at it differently, and then it could serve you. That's what I've done. And I'm not saying I've done that across the board in every aspect of my life, because I'm still growing, but I'd say that has been a huge help to me to reevaluate things that in the past how I look at things and think it was a real drag, or how I missed out on something. Now I can look at things and take the lesson, and then it helps me moving forward, because we have today. There's a lot of people that didn't wake up this morning.
Yeah.
So we have today. And
then that's what you do with today.
Yeah. We could die tomorrow, but we have today.
We do have today.
Yeah.
We could die today, technically.
For sure. Sure. Yeah. That's possible. Not right now, though.
Well, it's still, you never know.
Yeah, I guess.
You never know. I mean, this building looks structurally sound. It feels good, but.
Well, it reminds me, Christmas is coming up.
Yes.
And
yes, it is.
Yeah. And you want to make it to Christmas. And if you do, why don't you visit Sherry's Berries? If you go to sherrysberries.com, put in the code SDImprov, you'll get 10% off your first order of Sherry's Berries, or your first month free. And I'm not sure about that one, but definitely 10% off.
Got it.
And maybe free shipping always.
Yep.
My favorite is the chocolate vanilla swirl strawberries. Oh. So good. They're the biggest, most delicious strawberries you'll ever eat. Sherry's Berries. Back to the show. So again, to summarize, live for today. Tomorrow's not guaranteed.
Right.
And don't be so harsh about yesterday. Give yourself a break, and give everybody a break. Forgive everyone. Forgive them all, and starting with you.
It's harder than it sounds.
It is, but it's so important. What's the alternative?
You carry it around, and every now and then, for no reason, anger jumps up into your brain,
right?
And you're pissed off about a person that you haven't seen in multiple years, that you feel like wronged you, and now you're just a little pissed off.
Yeah, I get it.
And I don't like carrying that around, but it happens.
No.
And I try to remind myself, let it go.
Yeah.
You haven't seen that person is no longer affecting you.
Yeah. I used to carry, they say you're giving people mental real estate.
Yeah.
They're
bandwidth.
renting space in your brain,
but they're not paying.
Free.
I'll tell you that. They're not paying.
They're not paying. They're just
no upside.
Taking away. No. They're drawing.
Mm-hmm.
I used to carry around anger about some guy that did a bad deal with me that I went to high school with.
Yeah.
And I, would come up in my mind because I think about the guy and I think about that terrible deal. I could care less now.
It's weird. But that's the weird thing, and I think that's just the human thing. It's for me, like I said, it's there's this one guy. It's really weird. There's this one guy.
It's forgiveness.
And it's still it is, and I feel like I've given a lot of people. And I tell myself there's still one guy, and I tell I've had
a high school person.
No, but I've had the mental conversation of, I hope he's happy. Just let him live his life. I'm living this great life. I've got this amazing kid. Look at this beautiful logo that has my name on it.
I love it.
Things are good. Things are fine. But you just, I hate that I still carry that around.
And you know, also the idea that if you can look at their lives, again, the sadness of whatever drove them to hurt you.
Yeah. Oh, I think about that. I do.
You know, because again, I think it's easier to say, I wish them well, hope they're doing good, everything, you know, but really to consider, to go back and again, think about the sadness of whatever drove them to be as rotten or terrible.
He was a miserable fuck then.
Sure.
He's still probably a miserable fuck.
Maybe. Yeah. And you know, but again, and then you have to move to forgiveness. I really think it's important. Again, for me,
I'd like to say right now, I forgive that miserable fuck. Is that what you meant?
That sounds angry to me. I don't know. It just sounds a little angry.
Okay. I forgive that miserable fuck.
Right. But I do. Is, again, and then the bigger picture of we're all part of the same, right? We're all part of this whole. He's a reflection of you. And as you are a reflection of me, and we're all reflections of each other.
Yeah.
Because if we're all part of the same thing.
And we all are the same thing.
Right. So, and then.
If you've done mushrooms, then you know.
Right. And then the thing is that what part of his personality or your personality do you really not like? Because it is you. It's not that person. It's part of your personality that's making you dislike that person so much. Everything that we envy or dislike about another person, it's actually us. There's something inside of us.
And I forgive this miserable fuck.
Yeah, there you go. That's good.
It's a start.
Yeah.
It's a start.
Do you catch yourself being envious, or is that something you've moved past? And I'm only guessing because we could all do it,
of this specific person, or just in general?
Not that person, but in general.
Yeah. But I don't, and I heard this, I forget what podcast it was, but I heard people talking, they were talking about envy and jealousy. And I like the way they said it. I think it was Neil Brennan's new Blocks. If you haven't seen Blocks at all, great podcast. It's all about mental health.
Okay.
And they were talking about how, and I forget who told the guest, and I forget which guest it was, but envy is when you see somebody and go, they have that, I want that. And jealousy is when you see somebody and go, I'm angry because they have that. And he was like, I'm okay with envy, because envy makes you go like, he has, I want that. He's doing theaters or he's touring the thing. I want to be doing that. And now it kind of charges you up. The envy, the way they kind of explained it was like, the envy can charge you up to be like, I will do that. Like, I want that and I'm going to do that. Yeah. And this is now, where the jealousy is just like, I just don't want them to do that.
Yeah.
And I like that, because I was like, envy pops up. I scroll my feed and I see people I know that are doing extremely well, and not that I'm not. I'm sure that's the other part. I'm sure, I have friends that look at me and they're like, he's doing commercials. He did the Super Bowl. Like, it's a great resume, but I see like the friends of mine that are on tour and doing stuff, and I am crazy happy for them. While I'm also like, I want to be in that theater. I want to be telling jokes to those people. Like, that's the envy that I have.
Yeah. I mean, I can say like, that time when I left acting, and while I was acting and not getting the jobs I wanted, I definitely had a jealousy, envious thing, and also some brand of superiority, because I thought I was way better than these crappy actors. Like, I thought, even when he was an absolute no-name, this is 1993, there's a show called 15 on Nickelodeon, and I had friends that were on it, or people that I was friends with or became friends with. Ryan Reynolds was on that show, and I thought he was the worst. Like, and if you go back, if you can find any clip, he is awful in that. He would agree to it, like he must. He's so brilliant now, right? But he was as emotionless, and
Hold that thought. This episode of Let's Be Human is brought to you by Mint Mobile and Ryan Reynolds. Yeah. So go to Aviator Gin. Go to Mint Mobile and put in mintmobile.com/LBH. All right, back to the show. Sorry. So Ryan Reynolds is trash. Go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, and this is, again, obviously it was before he was absolutely anything. He was, but I envied him. Like, how did this guy get this part?
Yeah.
How, and
I found that in comedy for the 11 years I've been doing this, it's really weird. And it's even with the people you love, like my best friends, especially in the beginning where you're all kind of fighting for the same sets around town. Like once you've kind of risen a little bit, not above, but like you've risen to the top of the mic, the open mics, and people are starting to put you on shows and trusting you with 8 minutes here and 10 minutes there. And it was the kind of thing where like your friend, would be touching base, you'd be hanging out at a mic because you were hanging out with your friends at open mics every single night of the week. And they'd be like, oh man, they booked me to do till 2. I'm going to do 8 minutes until 2. And you're like, dude, that's awesome. And your head's like, it is awesome. How the fuck did you get that? Why did you get that? Why didn't I get that? Why didn't they call, like, I'm as funny or funnier than you? Why didn't, and it's like your best friend.
Yeah.
But it's still this, like, because in your mind, there's only so many there's only so many spots.
I think you did. That's it. It's a lack mentality.
Yeah.
Versus a limitless possibility mentality, and, again, like, so to feel that way, you're really in a very small place. Versus
there's a term for it. It's like making decisions from a place of abundance or
scarcity.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so if you're working from a place of scarcity or lack, you're going to make very defensive, scary choices. Like again, like you're cornered. There's not much. But if you're working from a place of possibilities and opportunity, and limitless things available to you, then you make better choices, higher choices. So I think definitely we have a higher consciousness that speaks to us, and it's part of what drives us, but it's also the part that says, hey, what are we doing? It's question, it's a questioning thing. And there's also some terrible id driven, garbage parts of our brain that we have to acknowledge, however they're there, be it, reptilian or otherwise.
You wonder, like when we were cavemen running around.
Yeah.
How did like the ego and how did all that serve us when we were just surviving?
I don't know. Well, I mean, I don't know. But I would say possibly it's what helped us develop community, separate us from the animals, because I don't see a lot other than, like, say, ants or other, kind of insects or whatever. And maybe higher level mammals, you'll see orcas working together or whatever for these common goals.
Primates too. Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe that's how it worked. Like maybe those are things that, could have evolved from just being so reactive.
Just pure instinct.
Yeah.
To actually, yeah. I had a conversation with Daisy yesterday, and I forget what sparked it, but we were talking about behavior. And she said something. She's been going through this phase where everything that's poop is funny.
Yeah.
And she just keeps saying poop stuff. And her mom and I have very much been like, hey, there's a time and a place, and that's okay. The grocery store, not the time or the place. Out at school, not the time or the place. Like, you need to tone it down. And she was like, well, I can't do it. And I was like, and I sat her down. I said, Daisy, everything that you say and do is a choice. You might not realize it's a choice, but when the idea gets popped up into your brain, you don't have to follow that idea. It's not a set in stone instruction. I said, you can be aware of the ideas because you are not the ideas. You are the awareness of the ideas, and you have a choice to act on those ideas. And then I remembered I was looking at a 6-year-old, but she still got it. She can comprehend, and I talked about it from the standpoint of like feelings are feelings. Something happened, like you skinned your knee. Since the very beginning, I've been like, anytime you get hurt, whatever reaction you need to have. I said, but also, and when she would get hurt, I would hold her and I would comfort her and I would say, pain is information. And I forget who said this one, but like pain is a rush of information into a void. Well, and so pain is your body, the nerve system in your body telling the brain that's controlling everything, they're like, hey, we got a problem. We did the knee thing. The knee thing's got a problem. We fell on the knee. The knee's bleeding. It's hurt. It needs to hurt. It's hurting. I'm letting you know through this pain thing that I can send you from here to here that we got an issue. And so I really would always instill it. I was like, pain is your body saying there's a problem. So once you address the problem, if you acknowledge the pain, and I have found this in my own thing, in my own life and whatever, that if there's a physical pain because you did something and you really acknowledge it, it will subside. I really feel like the information will slow down because it's like I acknowledge that there's a problem, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And so I've always like kind of instilled that in her of like, when you get hurt, of course it's hurt. Pain is pain. Like cry, be cuddled, be held. I will always, whatever it needs to be, but also you can be aware of what's happening and think, and that's kind of like what I'll do is if I like stub a toe, I feel like an idiot, but then the next second I go, thank you, toe, for telling me that I stubbed it. You're doing your job. Thank you. It's like a dog barking. If you have a dog, the dog should bark anytime someone comes to the door once. If it keeps barking, there's a problem. Acknowledge, you did your job. We're good. And but it was just interesting kind of laying that out for Daisy that like you are not, when you're at school, if you're getting in trouble or if something's happening, that's a choice.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's something, I mean, as a person with has dealt with anxiety and other things, like I didn't separate my thoughts from myself for a long time.
For a very long, I didn't, yeah.
I thought if I had the thought, then that's me, and I'm,
And now I'm terrified by how many people I think I run into that are just running on first thought reactions. Just everything they do is like, that's what I'm going to, like, just whatever comes up is what I'm going to do. That's how I operate.
Yeah. Oh, I have so much respect for people who pause.
Yeah.
I mean, I really do. Like people who give a moment's thought. I have, because I've not been one of those people for most
of my life.
Yeah. I'm getting there a little bit more, and now I'm coming into things maybe with a little bit more consideration versus like snap, yeah. done, and but definitely, I have a lot more respect for people that take their time to answer or say anything because that's pretty reasonable.
Yeah, and yeah. Reasonable would be the lowest level of appreciation for it. That's very like somebody that actually is willing to think about what you asked.
Yeah. They're
giving you more time than just
Yeah, and I used to have a really hard time with people not answering immediately. I don't know about you.
Yeah. But I used to have a hard time with silence.
Yeah.
Because I always thought that I had to fill it, which I'm sure was very frustrating for a lot of people for a long time. And then, yeah, I don't know. I probably about the time, as weird as it sounds, probably about the time I started comedy was really when I started to really grasp and acknowledge. And I don't know if it's from writing. I don't know if it's a performance side. I remember the biggest moment I had where like I was really impressed. This sounds weird. I was really impressed with my own brain was I was doing a set at the La Jolla Comedy Store and I was doing, I don't know, 15 minutes or something. And I'm like 12 minutes in. And I know, like, well, yeah, if I was doing 15, so I was like 12 and change in, the light comes on. And I know, boom, you have 2 minutes. You are not where you thought you would be in the set list you wrote down. Where if you try to finish this set list, you're going to go long. You're going to go at least 16 and a half, 17 minutes, and you got to be off at 15, right? So you have 2 minutes, which means, and what was interesting is I caught myself where I'm in the middle of full performance, yet the back of my head is managing bits and going, we're going to cut the last three, the last three tags, and the last thing, we're going to do the short version of the bit we're saying, and then we're going to skip over that bit and go to the closer. But we're going to have to do the short version of the closer, but we can still do that callback because of the thing before. And all of that is happening while I'm in full performance.
Yeah.
And once I like acknowledge that, then it was weird because I feel like this is kind of like meditation in a way where like all of a sudden you catch yourself in it and then you're out of it. And so the first time it happened to me on stage, it pulled me out and actually like had that moment of like, I stopped talking because I was like, oh, we're no longer doing the performance part because like whatever you want to call it, the front of consciousness caught up and realized and was like, hey, what are you doing back there? And all of a sudden it wasn't doing the performance side. But once I saw that, and then once that kept happening and I got comfortable in that place, I have been so impressed with the fact that like this thing's fucking multitasking really well. And that was when it really clicked in that like you are the observer of all the things that are coming out and that are popping up and that's coming in. Like you're just the observer, and it's all a choice of what the reaction and what the output will be. And from that point on, it made it a lot easier to assess my behavior and really realize that like I am 100% in control of everything, and I can choose the behavior and choose the words. And that was big. Yeah.
That brings us to our next sponsor, BetterHelp. If you want to talk to somebody, or
which you should,
somebody, yeah, I recommend it strongly. And just use my code SDImprov, and you'll get 10% off your first consultation with BetterHelp. Find counselors that work for you around the clock. Make time for them, and they'll make time for you. BetterHelp, BetterHelp.com. Use code SDImprov for 10% off.
On that note, have you had a lot of therapy? Do you like therapy? What's your take?
I haven't had a lot of therapy. I think it's great for people. I had some therapy probably in my early 30s that wasn't great, or I just wasn't comfortable with it. I just wasn't comfortable in general. I've had some therapy more recently that's been pretty great because it was more focused. Like it was more, I've always kind of like tried to give myself therapy. You know, I mean, I got into hypnosis to fix myself. Like it wasn't just for performance. I did it because I was at a crossroads in my life and I wanted something different in my, mental health. Not fully realizing, I just knew I wasn't right. I knew I was like stressed and it wasn't comfortable. And so I thought hypnosis could be a good way to do that. And it wasn't. But I mean, I highly recommend it for people. If you go visit a hypnotist. I wouldn't recommend you become your own hypnotist.
Yeah, it's kind of like being your own therapist.
Yeah,
it's not really a thing.
Yeah. But I believed it to be a thing. I mean, I've read so many books. And I'm really grateful. I mean, like you said earlier, I've provided some insight for others because I've read so many books and I've gained, and I've had to reevaluate my own way of thinking. But it wasn't until more recently that I've had a chance to kind of delve into behavioral or cognitive behavioral therapy. And then Stoicism. I've really gotten pretty far into Stoicism for a bunch of years now, which is tied to that. Just where you keep everything to what you have control over. You try to limit any concern that goes outside of that reach, and then take everything as it comes, that's not cognitive behavioral therapy or Stoicism in a nutshell, but it's parts of it that I've gotten some help from, and but just more like a specific focus has been really great for me with therapy, with talking to people and working on very specific things, and that's been great. And I think, I think talking to folks is great. I'm glad for everybody who does it. But it hasn't been a huge part of my life. But I probably would have had an easier life if I'd had somebody to talk to, especially when I was younger.
Yeah.
Because there's so many things that I could have talked to somebody about that I didn't, and my mom and dad were very closed off about a whole lot of stuff like that. Like we kept it in house, like, just there was no real opportunities for it. And it seemed like something that other people may have done, but we weren't going to be doing.
And also were they in a way like closed off emotionally too, in the sense where like, it wasn't like you were talking in the house about these things.
Oh no,
there was zero talk
After
of it.
My sister died, like she was never mentioned again. I mean, not in a completely weird way, but like
Well, it's
not enough. Like not in a way other than, maybe some memory about, and Angie went to Disney World, but like, it should have been a little bit more.
Yeah. I think that happens a lot.
Yeah.
Like I had a buddy that died, and he was 20, 21 when he died. And there was a group of us that were very close, and me and one of the other guys, like, we talk about them all. We'll call each other and be like, hey, remember that time so-and-so did that? And and I remember he one time was like, dude, he's like, I'll see his parents, and like, nobody talks about it. Nobody brings it up. It's like, it didn't, just gone.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that's so sad, because this kid was like awesome.
Yeah, and it's hard. I mean, I'm sure it's really hard for parents. I'm sure it's hard for my parents to lose their child and lose their children, and but again, it was at the cost of maybe me not having the chance to kind of grieve through it and deal with it. And I think it's great to let stuff out and share stuff, because that's really helpful. Again, like just thinking about the relationships I have now. The best things come from moments where maybe stuff gets dealt with that wasn't being dealt with. And then like air is clear, you understand each other better. I mean, thank goodness for that. Like, I'm so grateful for the relationship I'm in now, because if there's something bothering my partner, she'll let me know. And then we talk about it, and it's not just pushed under a rug or whatever forever.
Yeah.
Until you're not together.
Is everything
anymore.
okay? Is something wrong? No.
Yeah.
No.
Right.
I never got that. And I've had that in a number of relationships where it's like, why is this 21 questions to get you to tell me what's bothering you?
Yeah.
So that's beautiful that you guys have that.
Yeah. It's great. And again, whether it's with somebody or somebody who's just good at it professionally, again, there's so much credit I give to these people that do study counseling and psychology, because they're trained to do this. They know what questions to ask and how to kind of get at things, and stuff you just don't think about. And I think it needs to be outside of yourself. You're not going to be your best person.
You got to have a bounce board. You got to have the sounding board. I remember, like, I love therapy. I went to a therapist a bunch when I was in college. And I remember she was back home, so I would only see her when I would go home for like spring break, Christmas, and the summer. And she told me, she's like, James, get a therapist. Like, why are you waiting to see me? And I was like, it's like, I don't, me, like, this is good. I don't want to have to like start over, da, da, da. And I remember one time she was like, James, you could find a bad therapist and work through your shit. Like, as long as somebody has like the book knowledge of how to help steer you, that's what you need. Like, you don't have to wait for me. I still never went and got anyone else, but I do think it's like, so like, just it really is you. What my favorite thing about therapy, once I realized what it really was, is like, it's somebody guiding you to find your own answers, because it's kind of like changing somebody's mind. You can't do it. You can't change somebody's mind. Doesn't matter what you show them, the facts, the whatevers, you're not changing their mind. If they find the facts, if they read into something more and change their, the information that came in and look at it from a different position, like we talked, then they can change their mind. And that's literally what you do with yourself. You work through all the shit yourself, and somebody's just there kind of guiding you of like, well, look at it from over here. And what if you looked at it from over here? And then, there you go.
Yeah.
What do you wish? Because it's funny, like we know each other through improv and comedy and our friendship, but you are also a realtor. You've been in realty for 20 plus years.
20 years, yeah.
20 years. And now you're here in San Diego looking to sell houses. What do you wish people knew about real estate? What do you wish they knew about realtors? What do you educate us?
Sure. What I wish people knew about real estate is that it will always happen, is that like there will always be people who need to sell and people that want to buy. So no matter what market, up or down, interest rates, the world at large, there will always be a need. So don't ever fear real estate, like being a bad investment, or not to say it can't be. You can make super bad choices at the very worst times and then absolutely need to make different choices and pay for it. It happens. Right. But largely, real estate appreciates. And what do I want them to know about realtors? Realtors work their ass off. Like, that's what I want people to know, is that realtors largely earn their commission and then some. Like, because I think there's a big misnomer out there, and there's some lawsuits right now happening where people had brought back contracts saying that they didn't. Sellers are suing old real estate companies because they felt they had to offer a commission to a buyer's agent, and they shouldn't have. Now, again, they read the contract. It was signed by them. They had the opportunity to dispute it. They could have negotiated it right then.
Right.
They didn't. So now they're, again, I just don't get it because it makes no sense. But it's a really pretty great industry. The percentages of profit and commission are low compared to any other industry. You go shopping, you're paying every grocery store a minimum of 20% above cost. So 3 or 6% commission, depending on half or a whole, isn't that much in the big picture. And again, the hours that realtors work, just to put that in perspective, is vastly more than I think people realize, and how hard they work. Are there some that don't, and maybe you're clueless? Yeah, sure. Pick every industry, and there are people like that. But in my experience, and again, I grew up in the house because my dad started selling real estate in 85. My mom joined him in 89.
And then you joined what year?
2003.
Okay.
Yep. But, everybody worked hard. Like, in every deal I've ever had, I've worked hard for. Like, I sold your house kind of.
Yeah.
I mean, I found the realtor and helped set the price and did a lot of stuff. And I worked at it. I mean, I did a lot of research. I found, I had to find the right person, and I had to make sure that it was going to be priced right. There's a lot of things that went into it, and that was for a referral fee. That was, but I'd say the big misnomer is that the agents aren't worth what they're paid, but I argue otherwise. I think they are. And I think I also think it's a great industry. I think it's a great industry to be a part of, and I think it's a great investment to have, is to get into real estate. So if you're looking to buy or sell,
this part of my podcast is brought to you by
CoastalSanDiegoLife.com. Visit CoastalSanDiegoLife.com for all your real estate needs. If you
in San Diego,
San Diego County, or the state of California, Colorado, or Florida, but primarily just San Diego County. But yeah, so I do think there is a difference between great realtors and average realtors, for sure. And that's where, again, those that are the best at what they do separate themselves from everybody else and earn it even more. But even again, like I don't think there's a lot of clowns in the business, but anybody you might think is a clown, they still had to work so much more than you realize and show so many more properties that they'll never get paid for. There's so much that gets done in that business that is never paid for. You only get paid when a successful sale happens. There is no salary in real estate.
I know, and I've known a couple of people that have told me where they're like a couple of people that wanted to buy a house, and they got to the point where they're like their agent had showed them like 24 houses, and I know one of them had an agent that was like, well, you're just never gonna, like, I think the agent like turned on like, I'm doing all this work and just buy one, like they just want to just buy a house. And then I know other agents, and I have friends that are also agents, where they're like, yeah, it's your house. Like, buy the one you want. Like, this is what I do. So don't let them, don't feel any pressure.
Oh, no, absolutely
it's not. Yeah.
But again, like, and for that same story, there are tons of agents who, again, give people, trips around the place and see a whole lot of stuff that never comes to fruition, or you'll show 24 homes to somebody, and then then their mom becomes their agent, like, that happens. That all that kind of stuff happens. I'm not saying that justifies anything. You're only worth the sale that you've helped somebody, either sell or buy, whatever. But it's filled with a lot of angst and a lot of hard work that I don't think anybody has any idea about. So that's my little piece about real estate.
Well, there you go. Is there anything you want to add for your podcast, or you good? How do you feel?
I feel pretty great.
I do too.
I do have one last sponsor.
Please.
This entire podcast was brought to you by Brass Taxes. BrassTaxes.com. Visit it, especially if you're a creative, if you have income that isn't like standard, if you're a 1099er, BrassTaxes.com is looking out for you. They've helped me for the last several years. They support many comedy festivals. They are sponsors of many comedy festivals, and they were started by a comedic artist who got into the accounting business and hires typically performing artists to become like accountants, and they do an amazing job. They can consult with you for just an hour and square everything away, provide you all the spreadsheets you need to keep your stuff in good order. And I can't speak highly enough about BrassTaxes.com.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
I love you, bud.
I love you too, man.
This is
Thanks
really
so
fun.
much. I really appreciate it.
You're welcome. We'll have to do this again.
Yeah.
And thanks.
The other thing I do want to say
Yep.
is half of this podcast might be in cartoon form. If I can figure out how to turn this into a cartoon.
Your half or my half?
Just mine.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I'm excited to see it.
Yeah. I don't know where that'll be online, but
Probably YouTube.
yeah. Okay.
Probably.
Yeah.
I mean, if you put it anywhere else, it's
I think if you do a search for San Diego Improv on YouTube, you should be able to find it, because I have a San Diego Improv at Gmail account. My website is Improv San Diego. My meetup page is Improv San Diego. If you want to learn about meetup.com.
Is that still happening?
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
Visit meetup.com today for if you want to do a drop-in or take a class. Go to meetup.com and look for Improv San Diego, and you'll find my improv meetup.
But I do want to clarify, neither of these podcasts are brought to you by meetup.com.
No, not
Absolutely
at all. No. They are not a sponsor. I'm only recommending them,
for meetups.
Right.
Not to.
No.
Okay. Well, good.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
Thanks.
Goodbye, everybody.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks for having me.
No, thank you.
You're welcome.